This is a podcast from the John Gambling Show on News Talk Radio 710 WOR. Log on to WOR710.com for more information.
6 minutes now before 8 o'clock in the morning. Healthcare is the subject everybody continues to talk about. The talking has ceased or lessened slightly in the last 24 hours after Sunday's vote. One of the people that spoke very loudly, one of 34 Democrats that voted against the health care reform on Sunday night, was New Jersey's own John Adler. Congressman John Adler is on the phone with me this morning. Hello, John. Good morning.
Good morning, John. How are you?
All right. Why'd you go the other way? I applaud you, but why'd you go?
Well, I think most patriotic Americans know we need real health care reform that brings some common sense solutions, that brings the market back into insurance business in a way that it hasn't been in for years. I don't think we did that. I don't think we're going to be bringing down costs of premiums for businesses and for families that buy their own insurance. And I think we're really missing a chance to sort of just be bipartisan and solve real problems that have plagued businesses increasingly for the last decade.
Was this the earful you were getting from your constituents?
Yeah, my business community in particular is saying they can't afford 20% increases per year. It means some businesses won't hire an extra person because of the cost of the benefits. It means some people get laid off because of the cost of the benefits. We're in an awful recession. I think some people in Congress sort of lose sight of that. But 1 out of 10 good Americans can't find a job right now. That's awful. And we got to make sure we help our business community and not sort of ignore their plight at this point.
How ugly did it get for John Adler? With the Democrats.
Oh, no, I got to tell you, people, I talked about cost containment from the first moment the Democrats announced their bill last June, and I had very nice policy discussions. Nobody twisted my arm. Nobody threatened me. Nobody offered me anything inappropriate. At least from my point of view, it was all above board, nothing embarrassing. But, I definitely felt some pressure to go with the party, and I kept saying what I should do what I think was right.
All right, when you say pressure from the party, where does that pressure come from?
In my case, I didn't feel it from any one particular person, but you want to be with your team. But I kind of thought that for me, my team was the 3rd congressional district in New Jersey, and my state of New Jersey, and a whole great country. And so I didn't feel like I should be voting as a Democrat or as a Republican, but really as somebody looking for the future of our country.
All right, going to be talking with Michael McMahon, another Democrat that
voted
no. Yeah, coming up right after our news at 8 o'clock. And I read this morning that he's been threatened by labor leaders and others saying, you're done, you're toast, you're going to get voted right out.
Well, I would say that a year from now, they'll still be saying he's done, he's threatened, and he'll still be in Congress. He's a terrific guy that, as I try to do, stands up for what he believes, tries to look at each issue on the merits. He's a very impressive guy and really good for Staten Island and Brooklyn. He's a good guy.
Have you heard from others about fundraising in your future?
Some people are mad at me and probably won't support me financially. Some people are happy with me and probably will support me financially. If you start looking at that sort of stuff, you're part of a corrupt system. I tried to look at what was right for families, for taxpayers, for business, and I think if people would listen to me a little bit more, maybe to Mike McMahon, we'd be a little bit better off right now.
All right, John, tell me about your view of what the mechanics of what took place here with this fix-it bill and all the deals. I mean, it was beyond ugly.
Well, I'm hoping that some of those deals actually do get undone. That Nebraska thing was awful. The Florida thing, there was a Louisiana thing. I understand why people want to fight for their states or for their districts, but we got to look for the big picture for our whole country. And I don't think that's what it should be about when you've got a big set of issues about health care and health insurance. And so, all I ever wanted to do was try to bring costs down for business and families. And
this doesn't do it. This does not do that.
To me, it doesn't. I think we really missed a chance to work on a more bipartisan way to really solve problems for business and for families. And I'm worried about the impact for taxpayers because I think when you add in all the other costs, I think you're going to see increasing deficits, and we sure can't afford to have rising deficits right now.
Yeah, and over in your state, New Jersey, I mean, we know the state of that particular budget. We know the state of the property tax situation there, and to lay on more costs for national health care in a time of recession seems to be going in the wrong way.
Yeah, unfortunately, states like New Jersey that have higher incomes will actually bear a bigger percentage of the burden. New York State will feel the same thing. Connecticut, just because people earn a little bit more, they're going to be kicking in sooner and more to fund this health care expense. I don't think anyone begrudges having working Americans get access to affordable health insurance. That's a very worthy goal. But in a recession, to start raising taxes just seems like counterproductive.
My guess is you probably were not invited to the signing later today.
I have not yet been invited. I'm always open to invitations. It's our White House. It's not one party's White House. But I'm not expecting. I may have other plans for the day.
All right. Do you think that this thing gets refixed down the road?
Well,
do you
I
think
hope
it gets
so.
relooked at?
I hope so. We still got to deal with these costs, both the taxpayer cost and the premium increases that really businesses and families can't sustain. I think we really missed a chance to deal with that big set of issues, and we're going to have to go back at it. And maybe some of the answers that Republicans were proposing and other Democrats are proposing need to be brought back on the table to really make it work long term.
Will we be better off? The president has even said this, or I'm not sure he said it directly, but he might have intimated it, and that is that if in the November elections there is a restructuring of parties in both of the houses, do you think that works better for we Americans?
Well, I will tell you, I've only been in Congress for a year and a couple months. I'm astonished that some of the liberals are so far to the left, some of the conservatives are so far to the right, and they don't seem to respect the people in the middle that are just trying to solve problems and bring people together. There are a bunch of us freshmen and sophomores here in Congress who really come here as business-type people just to help America. And I think little by little, when people are here longer, they get pushed off to the extremes and lose track of trying to work to build a consensus. I'm going to be one of those people that tries to pull America together.
You know, John, I've heard that story before. People go down there with altruism in their hearts and in their minds, and somehow it all gets sort of turned in a different direction. John, thanks for the time this morning, and continued good work.
Thanks, John. Good.
All right, Congressman John Adler from New Jersey. As I mentioned, the other Democrat from the tri-state area.
You've been listening to a podcast from the John Gambling